Welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about 2025 reading goals. 2024 is almost at its end. We've got like a week left. It went by really fast, but every year does. But as I was taking a look back at what went right, what went wrong, kind of the year end of 2024, I'm starting to think ahead and determine what goals do I have for next year. What series do I want to get through or start? What authors do I want to read? What genres do I want to work on more? So today I'm going to go over a pretty broad list of books that I want to work on next year. I'm thinking what I might do is at the end of 2025, I want to go back and watch this video and see, did I succeed or did I fail? First thing I want to talk about is series that I want to finish in 2025. Now, some of these I have not started. Some of these I have only read one book of. Earlier this year, I dedicated a month to starting popular fantasy series, just reading the first book of each series and determining which series I wanted to continue and which ones I wanted to DNF. So the first series I'm going to talk about is one of those, and that is the Red Rising series. So I read Red Rising book 1. I liked it quite a lot. Now, technically this series is, I think, 2 trilogies. I don't know if there exists like several years between the first and second trilogy. This is book 2 and 3, so I know I have that. However, this I think is like the second book on the second trilogy. So 6 books in total. I've got 5 more to read. I only have 3 here, so I'm missing 2 books. One of them I do believe I own, but it is packed away in Michigan, so I will be getting the other 2 books from the library. But I did really enjoy this series, and I want to continue it before I forget everything that happened in it. Next, we have a series that I actually started the same time as the Red Rising, and that is the Ember and the Ashes. It's 4 books, right? So what is that, a quartet? There's another word for 4 books, but I can't remember what it is. Ember and the Ashes, I liked it a lot. So we've got A Torch Against the Night, which I think this is the second book. And then A Sky Beyond the Storm and A Reaper of the Gates. I don't know what order those are in, but we will find out. And same as the previous one, I really need to finish this series before I forget everything that happened in book 1, because with Red Rising and Ember and the Ashes, a lot was going on. These next 4 series I have not started, so it's just going to be kind of a clean sweep. First one is the Chaos Walking. This is a trilogy. I think it's just a trilogy. I only have the 3 books. I believe this is about, I don't know if like women don't exist anymore or all died out or all moved to a different land. I'm not sure, but I think it's all men and you can't speak aloud or noise doesn't exist. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's kind of like a mind reading thing. I think they communicate telepathically, which I'm either going to love or hate that writing style. I feel like that can either work really well or be really confusing. This next series I've wanted to start for quite a while. I've read a duology by this author that I absolutely love, but then I read one of her standalone novels. I wasn't so crazy about it. I think this is going to lean more towards the duology that I liked, and that is V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic. Vicious and Vengeful, I really enjoyed. The Addie LaRue one, what was it? The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I think it was called. I wasn't crazy about that one, so I'm hoping this leans more towards the former. I think it will. Next is a series that I definitely would not have picked up if I hadn't heard so much about it. Just judging by the cover, yeah, I would never have picked this one up, and that is the My Brilliant Friend. I think this is called the Neapolitan trilogy, Neapolitan novels. So just judging by that, there's nothing calling to me from this cover here, but I have heard that the writing is fantastic, that the story is really good. I really don't know what the story is about, and I think I want to start it that way. I'm not going to read any more into it, trying to figure out what genre it is even. However, as I'm flipping through these, I see I've got book 1. Okay, that's awesome. Book 2, great. And then this is the 4th book. So I am missing a book. That's okay. Maybe I have the 3rd around here somewhere. I don't know. And then the last series here, I cannot believe that I haven't started this series. I watched the entire TV show, and that is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is just, I mean, it's intimidating. It's like a big old book, and there are so many different character POVs that I don't find them all that interesting. So I feel like what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna end up flipping to try to get to the ones that I do like. It is like the definition of an epic fantasy. And I love so many things about epic fantasies, but they can get really tiring. So I've got Game of Thrones, and then I've got A Clash of Kings and a Storm of Swords. Which one is book 2? I know I'm missing some. Does it say the list of books in the back? Where is it? I know I've got book 1, so even if I don't finish it, like the other series, I really want to start and finish them. This one, I would be happy just maybe dedicating 3 weeks a month towards reading as far as I can go. So even if I don't finish, well, the author still hasn't finished the series, so I'm not even gonna say even if I haven't finished the series. But if I get through the first 2 books, I'll be happy. We'll see. Maybe I will start reading it and be completely addicted to it. Next kind of reading challenge of 2025 that I really want to make some progress with are my big old fat books. And I've got a lot of them that I want to get through because they all seem great and worth the read and worth whatever struggle and time you put into it. Let's go through them. First, A Little Life. Oh, this book. Honestly, I do feel like I need to make sure I'm in a good state, like emotionally and mentally, before I start this one. So I'm just going to go through the year, and whenever I'm feeling really happy and just really grounded, maybe I'll start reading this. And who knows, that might absolutely crush that happiness I have going, but will it be worth it? Most people seem to think so. Next, Under the Dome by Stephen King. I made really good progress on a lot of my Stephen King books last year. I think I got through over 10 of them, I think it was. I have read several of his longer books. Is this longer than it? It looks longer than it. It's over 1,000 pages. I think it was as well. I did not like it, like at all. But I had such a good experience with some of his other longer books, like Needful Things and what was the other one that they just made, I think, a TV show out of? I can't remember, but that one I had a good time with as well. This one, I've heard you gotta work at it, but I can do that. These next 2 books are probably the ones that intimidate me the most. Like I mentioned Game of Thrones, that's intimidating. Yes, but like that's doable. These next 2 books, when I talk about like really working through a book, these 2, this is what I'm talking about. So Infinite Jest is the first one by David Foster Wallace. I have read some of his like shorter works. I actually have, which arm is it on? I can't even remember which arm I have my tattoo on. I have This Is Water. That's by David Foster Wallace. And I have not read Infinite Jest. Like that's crazy. It's a big book, but it is also just like a meaty book. Like it's not an easy read by any means, so I hear. I have started it a few times and I've only gotten a few pages before I put it down. I think David Foster Wallace likes to make you work for your positive reading experience. So I don't know if any of you guys listening have read this. Do you think physically reading it or an audiobook would work better? Or maybe I can go like back and forth. I don't know. That one scares me a little. And then House of Leaves as well. This is supposed to be like one of the scariest books. But the format, I mean, I feel like I'm going back to like high school where I'm going to need to, like, some of it you have to like, read in a mirror. Some of it you have to read upside down. Some of it you have to like decode. I don't know if I'm into that, but I feel like this, as I'm saying, like, I'm not sure this is for me. I just like opened it up to like the first page. This is not for you. I appreciate the warning. I don't know, like, I feel like everyone wants to read this book. Not many people actually make it through, but I feel like the people that all have good things to say. And I'm also, I really don't like footnotes. And this has a ton of them. Next big book is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is Susanna Clarke's first book. I know it's some sort of mythology. I think it's about like 2 wizards or something like that. I don't know much about it. She has gone on to write a lot of other books that have been really well received and really popular fantasy books. Is she the one that wrote the, what's the one about the girl that lives in that city and she's like a dream walker? Crap, what's it called? It took like forever for the series to come out. I read the first like 3 books, loved it. And then the next book wasn't out yet, so I have never continued and I keep meaning to go back. I don't know if that's the same author. I might be talking nonsense. And then last we have IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami. So this is gonna lead into my next reading project, which is specific authors I wanna read. He is one of them. I have a lot of his books. Let me grab the other ones. IQ 84, I just hear really good things about. I just got this one on my last haul. Men Without Women. I hate that ring light. Excuse me. Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. Got this one, and then we have A Wild Sheep Chase. So I have quite a few of his books, but for as many books of his as I have, I think I've only read 2. So I need to start making a dent in some of his stuff. If you watched my winter reads, this next author will be no surprise to you, and that is Fredrik Backman. I just read the Beartown trilogy. Mwah, life-changing, amazing. I did read, what's the one with her? My grandmother told me to tell you she's sorry, but that and the trilogy are the only books I've read of his. So we've got Britt Marie Was Here, we've got Anxious People, and we've got a man called, how do you pronounce this? Ove? I don't know. I know isn't this the one where they made a movie with Tom Hanks, but they changed the name? It's The Man Called Something Else. The next author that I have way too many books of his that I've only read one, and that is David Mitchell. Cloud Atlas was fantastic, one of my favorite books of the year. I do have 4 more books of his. So we've got The Bone Clocks, we've got Black Swan Green. I think this one might be a collection of short stories, but I might be wrong. We've got Utopia Avenue, which was a recent purchase. And then we have The Thousand Autumns of Jacob de Zoet. We're gonna give those a shot. Next, we have an author known specifically for her thrillers, and that is Tana French. Is that how you say her first name? Tanya? Not Tana. Not Tanya. Not Tana. Tana French. I'm gonna go with that. We've got The Witch Elm, The Likeness, Broken Harbor, Faithful Place, and In the Woods. Now, this author, I thought I had read one of her books, but the book I was thinking of was In a Dark, Dark Wood, and that's not this one. So, have I read anything by her? I don't know, but hopefully at the end of 2025, I will have read multiple books by her, unless I read one and I just don't like her writing style. Now, the last specific author that I want to get through is a woman whose writing is very divisive. You typically either love or hate her books, and that is Colleen Hoover. Look at all those Colleen Hoover books. That's a lot of them. I've only read one of her books. I did personally really enjoy it. A lot of other people did not. We've got Verity, which is one of the ones I want to read the most. The synopsis just sounds really weird and bizarre and awesome. November 9, Layla. All your perfects. I don't know why I almost said all your forever perfects. Ugly Love and Regretting You. Now, there was another book of hers that I did want to read, which is It Starts With Us. Because I did read It Ends With Us, and that's the book that, don't kill me, I really like that one. I thought it was well done. A lot of people very passionately disagree with me. Next goal for 2025 is self-help, self-improvement, some sort of positive motivation books. I did try and start this year. I've had mixed results. Getting up early before work and just spending some time like drinking my coffee and reading something before I start the day to just get me in a good mindset. So we have The Subtle Art. I've heard good things about that one. The Pivot Year, which I just bought. I'm really excited for this one. And I think this, if anything, is probably what I'll be focusing on in the morning, because it is like you specifically get just a few chapters to work on each day. Day 98, you get a single sentence. I don't know if that's gonna be enough, but I have heard just people having a really good experience and this changing people's perspective on a lot. So I want to give it a shot. And then the last book in that kind of genre, we have Anam Cara, I think is how you say it, by John O'Donohue, a book of Celtic wisdom. I think, how did I find this book? I think I found a quote of his that it just struck me in a really kind of powerful way. And a lot of times that's how I kind of stumble upon books, is I'll find a quote, I'll be like, oh, that's a really good quote. I'll Google it, find the author and be like, oh, that's not a poet, that's an author, they've got books out, let's read it. Other things that I want to work on that I didn't specifically gather books for, because I've got a lot of them and they are all spread on my shelf and I have no idea which ones I'm gonna choose, and that is translated works. I've said this for like the past 2 years and I've read so few of them, but bought quite a few, so I should have plenty to choose from. I do want to dedicate some time towards some dark academia, because I haven't really dipped my toes into that genre very much. I'm also going to try and give sci-fi a shot. It has been very hit or miss for me in the past, mostly miss. But maybe it's just because I'm not choosing the right books. So I'm really going to try and see if I can embrace that genre a little bit more than I have been. Award-winning books, I don't know if I'm going to try and focus on like Pulitzers or National Book Award winners, or what is it, like the Orange Prize for Fiction. But I do want to dedicate a bit of time to get through some of those, because a lot of times I will buy books specifically because it won the Pulitzer. It doesn't do me any good just sitting on my shelf. So the last thing that comes to mind that I do want to work on is some sort of mythology retellings. I absolutely love, especially like Greek myths. I have always loved them ever since I was little. I feel like I kind of hoard them and save them for special times when I just need to start enjoying, like go into reading, not because like I want to hit this, but just dedicate some time and be like, I'm just gonna enjoy, I'm just gonna go for something that I know I'm gonna love. And if anything, that's going to be mythology. So, boom, I've got a few books. Daughters of Sparta. We've got the Song of the Kings. These are just a few that I've gathered. I do have more, I believe, on my shelves. What is that, Ithaca? Lavinia by Ursula K. Le Guin. The Temple of Fortuna. And lore. I just love mythology. Mythology and dark fairy tale retelling. So maybe that's something I did not think about. Maybe I will add that in as well. I'm also going to be doing my typical scary books for Halloween and then like icy, wintry, Christmassy books for the end of the year. So at the end of 2025, I am interested to come back to this video and see if I've made really good progress. I hope I have. But thank you guys very much, those of you who have joined me in my 2024 reading goals. As we've gone through, read some good books, read some bad books, DNF just a few books. But thank you very much, guys, for those of you who have joined me along the way. I hope your reading goals are going productively. And I will see you guys in 2025. Bye.